Bismillah. Pam, pam, pam. Assalamu alaikum, everybody. After a long break, we are back. Come on in. It's time. It's going to be fun and good podcast today, inshallah. But first, as our good listeners know, we need simultaneous sip to get ready for this awesomeness, a best part of the week. And all you need is halal liquid of any kind. I like coffee. And so, my dear listeners, join me for this unparalleled pleasure, the dopamine hit of the week, things that, alhamdulillah, make everything better. It's called a simultaneous sip, and it starts now in 3, 2, 1. Bismillah. Alhamdulillah. That was good. So, welcome to Season 4, Episode 1. With me in studio, I have my new guest, my youngest one, my son Adam. How are you, buddy?
I'm very good.
Are you ready for this?
I'm very excited to talk about digital economy.
What are you drinking with us today?
I'm just drinking water. We didn't have any juice left.
Because you finished it
Yes.
today. So, do you think we need some seeds, bizzer, something that could make this even better experience?
I don't know if we'll disrupt listeners. The cracking.
The cracking. And also we have my daughter Miriam, who is joining us via the miracle of the modern technology from Sydney. Metzi, salaam alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam.
At the end of the last season, you disappeared on us. We should reveal that you got married. So how is the married life treating you?
Married life is treating me well, alhamdulillah.
So in this season, we are talking about digital economy. We will focus basically on how to think about this topic and how to frame the whole issue. In a sense, we're going to think about how we're going to think about economy, if that makes any sense. Look, there are a lot of things going on in online in this digital space. And I guess I should start by asking you, when somebody mentioned digital economy, what are some of the things that come to your mind? So we might start with my dear, lovely Adam. What do you think about this topic?
I think crypto has been around for quite a bit of time. Like Bitcoin started in 2009. And NFTs, they really just started popping up in like 2021 and 2022. And now like they're selling all types of things as NFTs. Like they're even selling digital land on this project called Earth 2.
So you are 13 years of age. How do you follow these things?
CopyZilla. I watch CopyZilla.
Nice. He's the best.
Yeah.
What do you like about him?
Like the way he tracks all the wallets and the way he can see these things from like far away. Like he has caught so many scams and saved lots of people money. That's everything.
What are some of the biggest scams that he got?
The Jay Mazzini one. I mean, it wasn't digital economy, but still. There's also
Was that Save the Kids one?
Yeah, Save the Kids. Yeah, it was the main one that exposed it.
So what was that about?
That was about like the FaZe clan. It was like a charity, but it was really just like a rug pull. Fraser K, he literally sold all of his like equity of Save the Kids coins in a matter of hours after releasing the promotional video.
Miriam, what about you?
I don't know. I think people feel like they've reached the upper limit of tangible things to buy and sell and trade. So now they need intangibles to buy, sell, and trade.
So that's very interesting, sort of this distinction between tangible and intangible. As I was thinking how to frame this discussion, I remembered Brother Venda Hanfar, who is ex-Director General of Al Jazeera and now President of Al Sharq Forum, who once in Melbourne, he was discussing with a group of people about this rise of artificial intelligence. He was saying that on one hand, you have this artificial intelligence, and on the other end, you have this world brain, which is really in this cloud, all of this information that we are collecting from the data about ourselves, from steps that we're making, our heartbeats, all of those wearable devices, our passwords, our financial, the relationship we have with other people through social media, what we are reading, what we are looking, and so on. So he was saying that think about in terms of data mining and the pattern that we can recognize from this that knows so much about us. And this supercomputer or artificial intelligence that is able to go through this data and perhaps make connection that would reveal certain patterns and predict certain behavior about us. And it could know us maybe better than even know ourselves. And then you go to things like integration of biology and technology, integration of biology and robots. You have a situation where now humans or robots are exceeding what was possible.
I actually heard about that thing that they were going to put in your bodies. Like, for example, it was like this really microscopic robot. And if you have cancer, it actually fights the clot of white blood cells in the specific area. And it fights them and it kills them off. And it actually destroys the cancer. And think about it, 60 years ago, they needed like a full room of a computer that literally has less power than a calculator.
Remember how big the computer was when we went to see it in that museum, the Science Works Museum? It was so
like
big, and it was like
full room.
Yeah, and it was like the computing power was less than like the iPhone, I think 8 or something. So it was like so weak, but it took up so much space.
So the world is basically changing very fast. We want to see maybe what is something that is constant in our world. And as a Muslim, this is what Veda was saying. As a Muslim, for us, that is Quran, which derives way of thinking. Despite changes in the world, if we understood Quran, it can guide us until the day of judgment. And this is something that should benefit all humanity. So if we look at from the Quran, we will hear the verse which tells us wealth is something that should benefit people, and as such should circulate amongst all people.
So it was in Surah Hashr, verse 7. And so in the middle of this ayah, it says, Kayla, so that it does not yakuna dulatan bayna al-aghniya'i minkum. So it doesn't circulate bayna al-aghniya, amongst or between the rich ones, minkum, from among you. So it's talking here about the wealth and the way that it should be moved around between peoples. All the peoples, including, the kinsmen and the orphans and the needy and the wayfarers.
Just a note here regarding the circulation of the wealth in economy, and you can listen in our first season much more about 3 key pillars of Islamic economy if you download an episode called Shepherd's Model for Islamic Economy. So as we get into this digital space, we should first notice that in our real life, we are going through a tough time after pandemic. There is inflation, debt is wreaking chaos in the world. There is uncertainty about jobs, wages, and livelihood. You look at what's happening, for instance, in the Ukraine, that sparked major security and energy crisis. Just some of the headlines, data is showing that Chinese economy is shrinking. Central banks around the world are considering putting up interest rates up to fight very high inflation, but that is risking a recession as the increase in cost of money slows economic growth. Joe Biden was in Middle East just last week and was hoping to get some more oil from that region pumping in order to reduce US inflation, which is now at a 40-year record. Sri Lanka was on the edge of collapse with unprecedented debt crisis. Country is actually now on the brink of starvation as food prices skyrocket, and actually president fled the country. Italy is bracing for recession as lawmakers are trying to unlock $200 billion in aid from European Union. How bad really does real life have to become for this digital and virtual world to become more attractive? So since we are talking about what is real or what is fake, I have a story, and sometimes people get upset with me when I tell a joke or a story. Once happened just a couple of weeks, I was telling somebody a story, mouse and the elephant going to the cinema. Elephant was sitting in front of the mouse, and the mouse was trying to move around and see what's going on. So the mouse couldn't see the screen. And then he said to the elephant to switch the seat with him. So now mouse was in front and elephant was behind. Okay? When elephant was explaining, when a mouse was explaining to elephant that he couldn't see, he didn't react. So now, since they swapped the seat, mouse turned back to elephant and he said to him, "Do you now understand what I was trying to tell you? How it looks when somebody's in front of you, and obstructing your view." So I was telling that joke, and the guy said, "Do you know it's haram to lie?" So of course, telling lies, it's not allowed. Making somebody believe something that is false or deceiving somebody from any of these things, it's obviously not allowed. That's when you are deceiving someone. When somebody knows that something is a work of fiction, like in this story, it's not really like, who is deceived here? Is there somebody who thinks this really happened? It's just like you will hear often our scholars tell us similar stories, like a tree, bull, and a lion. We often have these stories which are clearly work of fiction that person knows and understands. Telling these stories is about separating what is truth in the matter of a principle from what is really truth. There's a difference between joke that is lie and can create a problem, and something that is a fictional story that is meant to educate us or show a point. So I think this story used to be a song we used to listen as a kids on the radio, I think in 80s or 90s or something like that. I remember it from the radio. And anyway, in this song, there is a man who is fishing. After fishing all day, he caught a golden fish. And this is supposed to be a fisherman's dream. The little fish is saying to him, please let me go. I will grant you one wish. So the man got a little bit upset with this, and he says, why just one? Why just one wish? So far, there have always been three. What sort of times are these? What is this like? Are you even the really golden fish? So the fish says back to him in this song, times are what they are, don't worry about that. Say what you want and spend your life like nobody else in true happiness and joy. So then the man, obviously very angry that he can't get his three wishes, he's saying, well, if that's the case, you want to be like that? Go away. Let others catch you. I'm not a man of one wish, so I'll let you go out of spite. What we call in Bosnia, inat. Spite is defiance. And so he let go of fish. What comes to your mind when you hear such a story? Like, what's your first initial reaction before I go into any kind of analysis?
Well, I would react the same as the guy. Like, it's always been 3 wishes in a genie bottle or something, or like in these fictional stories.
I definitely agree with you that at least the fisherman had some principle. As he says, I'm not a man of one wish, so it's either 3 or none. And even when he is acting in spite or even in opposition to his own self-interest, he still has some kind of a self-respect. So even in this fictional story, you admire him for that. Now we come to the point of a real versus fake here. What is the point of this story? Like, there has always been demand for this get-rich-quick promise. And even before we supplied all of these Ponzi and pyramid schemes and something that will solve our problem, something that is so easy, just you wish and poof, you are granted that wish. And so we see, for instance, in a story like the goose that laid the golden eggs, or the story of Aladdin's genie that granted 3 wishes, which was in reality the jinn. Or even in these other superstitions, amulets and so on, that people believe will bring them good luck and good fortune. This is outside of Islam. We don't believe in these things. But the question here is that why does this work? Why do we have this desire for quick solution?
Well, people that have to struggle and put their hard work into whatever they need to do to provide. And the idea of that all just going away one day, easily, that's literally your dream. Like who wouldn't want that?
So it's something that there is a promise of riches in an easy way.
Like, you think the top richest in the world didn't work hard? Imagine Jeff Bezos. Literally, he made an online library, and he was so poor at the time. I read a story when they got their first office, they couldn't afford desks, so they got a door, and then they drilled holes into it, and then put a little plywood, and they used that as a desk. And he started from nothing, and now look at him.
So he worked very hard, and so you're saying it's not as easy to get something of value. There was always this idea of turning some kind of useless garbage into something of value. For instance, generations of alchemists tried to make gold out of cheap material. In a Greek mythology, which we don't believe, I don't know if you heard. Have you heard the story of King Midas?
Yeah, everything he touched turned to gold.
What happened with him once he was granted this wish? Do you remember?
I heard like he took away his wish after turning his mother into gold or someone of
daughter. He was trying first to sleep, bed turned into the gold. Of course, this is just myth, but we are just saying the consequences, right? Food, as you mentioned, turned to gold. The bed, even he tried to smell rose, everything was gold, and even his daughter came to him to complain about something, and then he accidentally touched it and she became gold. Everything turned into the gold. By the way, Donald Trump and Robert Kiyosaki, they had a book called Midas Touch. They always wanted to do that.
All of this talking about gold and like money and everything, it comes to a point, like you said, the rich people, they're so rich, like they can make another $1 million or $1 billion and it doesn't affect them anymore. Like it doesn't matter to them because they've reached like the pinnacle, right? And it just reminds you of that hadith that the Prophet ﷺ said, if the son of Adam were to own a value of gold, he would desire to have 2 values. And then if he had 2, he would want 4. And like nothing can fill the desire of the son of Adam except the dust of his grave. So like our greed is so big that like the poor people, all they want is like more money. And then the really rich people, all they want is like a new way to make money, you know? And I think that's why like crypto and stuff is so enticing to them, because it's like, it's a new way for them to make money. And yeah, like the son of Adam, like we're so greedy that the only thing that will satisfy us is when we basically leave this world.
Also, we structure our economy to trade all of our time for money. Everything we value is money and commodities we can get for that money. So the only thing that becomes of any value is things that have a price tag. But a lot of things that make you really happy don't come with the price tag. You know, the love, relationships, your health, and so on. What is digital economy? So when we talk about economy, we think about production, consumption, trade, distribution of goods and services that help us fulfill needs that we have. If this is a real economy, how does the digital economy differ? What is digital like? If I ask you, like when you say just the word digital, not economy, what's your definition of digital?
Something that's online, non-tangible, uses the internet mostly.
Something that is not physical, like you can't touch it because it's somewhere out there with a bunch of zeros and ones. Trying to sell us with this whole digital concept is like Apple Pay, like a way of using your money. Like it's already on your phone. It's already digital.
So we could say that digital describes some sort of electronic technology and devices. Digital economy is also referred as internet economy, and it's based on technology like internet or World Wide Web that connects people, organization, devices, and gets us our goods and services. We also see in daily life that digital economy is transforming our businesses and how we do commerce. When the Uber first started, I thought I will never go for Uber Eats. I said, I'm never going to be one of those people who buys Uber Eats, right? But what happens when we're watching something in the night, when we feel lazy and we want some ice cream or some food, and how easy is it to order that?
Yeah, temptation is there.
But this is a good innovation, right? This is a type of the things which solves your problem. I can't be bothered. I'd rather spend time with you guys doing something, you know, playing games or whatever, than going in my car and waiting half an hour at the supermarket. Isn't that something that is beneficial when it comes to digital?
I feel like it's very beneficial for society because the Uber is actually being the middleman. Because usually the transaction is you and Coles or something. But now, since we pay a little extra, we give someone a job, like we're literally financially supporting them just for a little bit extra. We're enjoying together more time, and we get to enjoy whatever delicacies we want to eat, like chips or ice cream. And it's very simple, click of a button. So it's actually very innovative that Uber did that. And even in 2009, when it, like, around that time when it launched, like, everyone said, nah, like, taxis are here. But now you see, in the cities, you barely see taxis anymore. Everyone's taking Ubers.
You know, when I was in Bosnia over the summer here and winter there, I was shocked when people started delivering cevapi and other food in Bosnia. Like, I was thinking, this is never going to happen in Bosnia. But there is a lot of things that are changing. Like, Amazon became so convenient to order things. Your sisters, the amount of things that they order. I mean, every day I come, there are a ton of boxes here from Amazon. Even the Apple Pay, that's the greatest invention in my life. Two of us went literally one day, we just hopped in the car. I only had the phone. We were in the slippers. And we decided, without any preparation, just to drive 500 kilometers and stay somewhere for 2 days. What's the place where we had a bit of a...
Lakes Entrance?
Lakes Entrance, yeah. And we spent 2 days, we had nothing. If that phone failed us, we would be really stranded, right? But we just had the Apple Pay. We would pay with booking.com and we had everything. So there is something when technology really helps you solve problems. Maybe, look, I don't know. When we listen to this, maybe somebody will think we are really lazy, like ordering the food.
No, I think it's just that, like, things we didn't realize were inconveniences. That's what they've solved, you know, like, I don't like carrying a wallet. I don't want to do it. I don't want a bulky phone case that has my everything. I don't want to do it. Having everything on your phone is so easy. Like, everything is on the phone. My cards, so easy. Even we were flying from Sydney to Melbourne. My booking, my boarding pass is on my phone as well. It's just, everything's there. And it's so nice when things are just in one place. You know they're going to be there. And hopefully it doesn't fail on you. Because really, it's like that is like your everything. But it's good to have that ease of moving around.
I think you touched the main point, which is that it really benefits you and especially solve the problems that sometimes you maybe didn't know even you have, or reduces the friction.
But remember, it's like, okay, so I don't know how long ago it was that the what is it called? PayPass, yeah? PayPass was introduced.
Tap
and go, yeah?
Tap and go, yeah.
When that was introduced, we were like, oh my goodness, we had no idea what an inconvenience putting in a 4-digit PIN was. But now, like, imagine carrying a card around. Oh my goodness. And what's crazy is it's not like that everywhere in the world. Like, you go, like, you know, you can go back to Bosnia and you're like, oh my God, I have to take out my whole card. Like, you have to even put in the PIN in some places. You're like, what is
oh my God, I hate
place?
that. I don't know, are we that spoiled? I mean, are we that, what are we? I mean, somebody's listening to us. They say, these people are crazy. Right.
That's just technology, like, that's just how far it's advanced. And, today, for example, like, even I'm realizing it's us as a generation, as a society, we're improving. But it's still in subsets of our society, there are people who are not up to that yet. So, for example, today I was in an area where it's a higher socioeconomic area. So the students in that area, they all have iPhones. Previously, last term, I was in an area that's low socioeconomic. So most of these kids don't have smartphones, like not Samsung, not Oppo, none of the big ones that we know. They're all like very simple, basic. And even that, you can tell it's just like a difference that you recognize. You're like, oh my goodness, like these kids aren't exposed to how advanced technology gets, And it's just so interesting, like looking at it that way. That's just in Sydney. That's different. So going from a country to country, the digital technologies have become so advanced. And I think while we're reaching the pinnacle, like Adam said at the start, we're reaching the pinnacle, but the rest of the world is still catching up because we're at the forefront. Yeah, we're like one of the forerunners. So for us, it's like, oh my goodness, we have nothing else to expand, blah, blah, blah. Technology is coming to the end. But for the rest of the world, it's still not that affordable. It's not something that's accessible even to them. There are technologies in other parts of the world that we don't use anymore, but for them, it's very innovative. I saw an example there was this man and he was in some country and he was selling on the street phone credit through his phone. So that was like a big deal for them because they still need phone credit, like For me, I'm like, what do you mean you need phone credit? Don't you have unlimited data? Unlimited calls, SMS, whatever. That's something that I found very interesting about digital technologies. Like, and obviously the listeners are from around the world. So for some people, they're like, oh, these people are so spoiled or whatever. But this is our norm. Our normal is Apple Pay, Google Pay, not using cards, not using these things. This is our normal. But you can go to other parts in the world where it's like, we can't even imagine that because it hasn't come there yet. Especially like the Muslim world is very much a step behind, or 2-3 steps behind. And it's going to take at least 10-15 years for them to catch up to where we are.
I have a friend, he recently came from Lebanon, and he's so, like, these things are so weird for him. Even he was rich in Lebanon, and like they had a massive mansion and a full tennis court, but they still didn't know about this Apple Pay, and they still had wallets and everything and cards. And
even in a lot of the countries where they would send that money through that phone text messages, and those are like a minutes or credits that people are using to pay and so on. This is obviously making life much more easier, and this is the technology trying to solve real life problem for them. So we are getting used to this convenience. Of course, on other hand, I would say that it can go again too far, because with the new applications and these financial services that are this fintech being one of them, where suddenly you find yourself with apps that integrates with all of your ecosystem, and you start buying on credit, for example. A lot of young people who don't have credit card, they have these buy now, pay later apps. And these are very instant, quick decisions where people go into so much debt so quickly, also frictionlessly. I was reading in China that they use Alipay and WeChat, which is like your WhatsApp and so on. Yeah. And these are so integrated that each one of these has around 1 billion customers. And the amount of fees that they collect from payments, because that's basically a bank in your app that you use to communicate with people, which can lend you money, invest the money for you. These apps take about half of all banking fees in China already. So we see all of these organizations, and even the way that finance is done with this DeFi, decentralized finance, where you have these intermediaries, banks, exchanges that use these smart contracts on the blockchain that are removing traditional financial transactions. I wonder if this technology, or what we are creating in this digital world, can be classified into some sort of two camps. One is something that is real, that is useful, connects us with the real world, solve some of our problems and remove some frictions, so benefiting us, going to that Quranic principle that is benefiting us and making money more easily circulate in the right way. Or is it something that is promised, that is really illusion, that is benefiting us, but it's not only not benefiting us, but it's actually making the money circulate and go only to those at the top? Like in a real economy, what are the borders between ethical and unethical economy, or halal and haram? Did we actually in all of this find a way to help ourselves to create benefit, or new ways where we transfer wealth from naive, gullible people to those who are at the top of the pyramid? Perhaps as a way to judge digital economy, we should look at technology more as a neutral thing, not as the main parameter by which we're looking. What we ask is beyond technology.
So it gets progressively integrated into our society, and it becomes a norm.
Right.
Us, like this Apple Pay now.
Yeah. And so we don't think about Apple Pay as a technology behind Apple Pay. What we think is, what real problem do we get solved here with this? Does it benefit us or does it harm us? Like Apple Pay benefits us, but easy credit cards, easy going into debt, playing into the desire and impulses when people buying, maybe that's not real utility that is beneficial for people, especially targeted to young people. In the crypto, the amount of speculation that is going, ease with which people go into that, does it really harm us or benefit us? Is there a promise of something that could potentially lead to benefit or illusion? And to what degree this might be a blessing or might be a curse for us. This season, this was just the introduction. What we are looking is at the building blocks of this digital economy that promises to transform our life. And we want to see these pieces. Do they add up to something? Before I give you the final words, I would like our listeners to join our mailing list, our Telegram channel. We are on social media from Instagram, Twitter, and so on. My name is Almir Colan, and this is with me, Adam and Miriam. How would you conclude this topic?
Basically, it's the new way of our life, of our everyday life.
So some things are like, no, don't do that. But other things are like, yes, we should accept that. For example, in a country like Australia, we all use our credit and debit cards, yeah? So a lot of people don't use cash, especially post-COVID, right? So to a country that's fully dependent on cash, that might seem like, to them, the way they look at the way that we interact with money using the debit and credit cards might look to them like, for example, Bitcoin looks to us because it's so strange, yeah? But then the question is, where do we draw the line? Because when we look at debit and credit cards, like obviously that's still your money, but it's just on an account. But then how do we explain that difference to people that it's not like Bitcoin, for example, you know? And then again, you look at Bitcoin or whatever, and then you compare it to, all right, but trading in the stock market, like how is that an okay transaction in a sense? But Bitcoin is more problematic.
Digital economy is not so much different from the regular economy. We all need to work to get things in our life, whether it's digital or non-digital, analog. We want to see what's the benefit we are getting. And the same ethics, same rules apply. At the end of the day, you want to get some benefit, something for yourself. And people will always go for what is easier, what is more convenient. Is this helping us become better people, better society, more connected, beneficial? Or are we becoming more obsessed with things, with making even more money? Everybody want to go to the moon. Everybody want to make something out of nothing. Because even in the paradise, Shaitan promised our grandfather Adam something, some wishes. And if you do this, this will happen. And he knew his insecurity. I don't know to what degree these metaverses and digital payment networks and organization and decentralized this and that, are they to really solve the problem or create a problem? So I guess we'll see that, inshallah, in the next episode. Wish you all the best. Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum.